At age 93, Barbara Eden proved why everyone in Hollywood can't stop talking about her. The I Dream of the Genie star's shocking confessions about JFK's secret phone number while they were married are finally coming out, along with a scandalous belly button incident that almost got her fired. But that's not even the juiciest part. Wait until you hear what happened with Larry Hagman on set, and why she kept quiet about it for 50 years. Barbara Eden was born Barbara Gene Morehead on August 23, 1931 in Tucson, Arizona. It was the middle of the Great Depression, a time when families across the country were struggling. Her parents, Alice and Hubert Morehead, tried their best to make a life for themselves, but money was tight and the future wasn't clear. Despite the hardships, Barbara's family history was unique. She was a descendant of Benjamin Franklin, making her connected to one of America's most important figures. When Barbara was 3, her parents got a divorce, and her mother took her to San Francisco to start over. The city became their new home, but life wasn't easy. Alice eventually remarried and became married to Harrison Connor Huffman, a telephone lineman. Barbara now had a half-brother. Alice found ways to keep their spirits high. She sang to her daughters and filled the house with music. Those times became a source of comfort and inspiration for Barbara. Growing up in San Francisco changed her in ways she didn't realize. She lived in the Parkside neighborhood, which was a close-knit community with deep roots. Her family had been in the city for generations, with ancestors who came on covered wagons and clipper ships, but history didn't pay the bills, and Barbara learned early on that she had to work for what she wanted. As a teenager, she started using her talent to help her family. She sang in church choirs and soon was performing with local bands. She wasn't just doing it for fun. Singing made money, which her family needed. She performed in nightclubs where she made $10 a night, which was a big deal at the time, and gave her even more valuable experience. She worked with bands led by Howard Fredericks and Freddie Martin, learning how to command a stage. Every night she got better, and every performance brought her closer to something bigger. When she was 16, she took a risk and joined Actors Equity, which showed that she was serious about performing. She trained at the Elizabeth Holloway School of Theater and also studied singing at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. In 1949, she graduated from Abraham Lincoln High School. She then spent the next year at City College of San Francisco studying theater and getting ready for the next step in her career. Then, out of the blue, she entered a beauty pageant under the name Barbara Huffman and won the title of Miss San Francisco. She competed in the Miss California pageant, and even though she didn't win, it didn't matter because it gave her confidence. She had been performing for years, but now she was getting noticed. Barbara Eden's path to television began with small but important steps. In 1955, she appeared on The Johnny Carson Show, which was her first big chance to perform on a national stage. At the time, television was still new, but getting a spot on a variety show meant she was seen by millions. Eden wasn't just there to sing, she also showed off her acting skills, which caught the attention of producers, who saw something in her that made people want to watch. Not long after, she appeared on I Love Lucy, which was more than just another acting job. Lucille Ball was one of the biggest stars in TV, and working with her would have been the dream of any young actress. Ball had perfect comedic timing, and she ran every part of her show. Sharing the screen with her gave Eden a chance to learn from the best. And even though Eden's role was small, it helped her get noticed in the business. Eden's mother. Early on, someone saw Eden's potential and told her that singing alone wasn't adding enough emotion to her performances and that acting could help her fix that. Eden took this advice to heart and enrolled at the Elizabeth Halley School of Theater. Training gave her the confidence and skills to take on more difficult roles. She started making guest appearances on popular shows, playing different characters on Highway Patrol, Private Secretary, The Millionaire, and Perry Mason. None of these were lead roles, but they all gave her more experience. Each new set brought new challenges, and each director had a different style. When she went in front of a camera, she learned something new. Then she got her big break in 1957 when she was cast in How to Marry a Millionaire, a TV show based on the 1953 movie with Marilyn Monroe, Betty Grayle, and Lauren Ball. The show was about three young women in New York City who all wanted to marry rich men. It was a lighthearted comedy, and Eden was one of the leads. It was her first time as a series regular, and the show ran for 2 seasons. It was a fast-paced production, and Eden had to learn how to react quickly to her lines and make people laugh. It was hard for her to keep up with the weekly scripts, but she learned quickly. Even though the show only lasted 52 episodes, it gave her valuable experience as a leading lady. By 1960, she was ready for a bigger role. Her first major film role was in Flaming Star, a Western drama starring Elvis Presley. Unlike most of his other movies, this one had a serious plot. Presley played a man caught between his Korean heritage and his white family, and Eden played Rosalind Pierce, a woman caught in the conflict. This wasn't a lighthearted romance. It was a movie with real emotion, and Eden gave a great performance. Flaming Star, which starred Elvis Presley, opened to number 12 at the box office and got good reviews. Presley was praised for his acting, showing that he was more than just a singer. The next year, Eden played Lieutenant Kathy Connor in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, a science fiction adventure directed by Irwin Allen. The movie was about a submarine crew facing a global disaster and mixed action with futuristic storytelling. Science fiction was becoming more popular, and this film became one of the biggest in the genre for Eden. Even with these successes, it wasn't easy to break into Hollywood. There were a lot of young actresses trying to make it big, and every audition meant competing with dozens of others. Eden had to work harder to stand out. In 1965, Eden's life changed forever when she played the Genie in I Dream of Genie, a fantasy sitcom created by Sidney Sheldon that ran for 5 seasons from September 18, 1965 to May 26, 1970. This one role made Eden a star. The actress Eden played a 2,000-year-old genie named Genie, who was mischievous, playful, and deeply devoted to her master astronaut, Tony Nelson. Eden brought more to the role than just magic tricks and charm. She made Genie funny, smart, and full of personality. At first, the show was supposed to be serious, but that quickly changed when Eden was cast. She had a natural, comedic timing that gave the show a lighthearted feel, and her relationship with Larry Hagman, who played Tony Nelson, became the heart of the show. Tony was logical and disciplined, while G was impulsive and full of energy. The story started when Tony's space mission went off track. He crashed, landed on an empty island, and found an old bottle buried in the sand. When he opened it, smoke came out and a beautiful woman appeared. She said her name was Genie and made Tony her master. Tony couldn't believe what he was seeing, but before he knew it, she had used her powers to get them off the island and back to his home in Cocoa Beach, Florida. After that, his quiet life was over. G wanted to help Tony, but her magic usually caused more trouble than good weather. Even when she was trying to make Tony's life easier or impress his boss, things always went wrong. To make matters worse, Tony had to keep her a secret from his friends and co-workers. His best friend, Roger Healy, played by Bill Daly, eventually found out and loved it. But Dr. Bell, a NASA psychiatrist, was always suspicious. Whenever something strange happened, he thought Tony was hiding something. Even after I Dream of Genie ended in 1970, Eden's connection to the character didn't fade. The show stayed popular in reruns, and new generations fell in love with Genie's adventures. Even decades later, she was still known for her part in reunion specials. Larry Hagman, on the other hand, was a great actor, but his behavior on the set of My Dream of Genie was anything but normal. His moods would change without warning, and his outbursts would often leave people shocked. For example, when he didn't like a script, he wouldn't just complain, he would urinate on the scripts or even parts of the set. This wasn't just an occasional temper tantrum, the cast and crew had to deal with it all the time. Addiction. In the early seasons of I Dream of Genie, Hagman used amphetamines and nicotine because he thought they would help him stay motivated and control his weight. He didn't realize how addictive they were, and over time they had a serious effect on his behavior. He eventually quit, but the damage had already been done. Stories about his crazy antics kept growing. One time he showed up to work in a gorilla suit for no reason, and another time a group of nuns walked into one of his worst moments, where he was swearing and swinging an air conditioner around, unaware that they were there. Eventually, the network stepped in and suggested he see a therapist in the hopes that it would help. Instead of calming him down, the therapist told him to try LSD and marijuana, which made things worse. His co-star Barbara Eden saw everything for herself and never denied how difficult he could be. But she also saw something important. His crazy energy made I Dream of Genie more entertaining by creating tension between their characters. Their chemistry kept viewers watching, even though things were crazy behind the scenes. In later years, his drinking problem caused serious health problems that required a liver transplant for decades because she focused on her work and ignored the distractions around her. But the so-called belly button controversy caused the most media attention during her career. It all began when a journalist said that Eden's belly button was never visible on I Dream of Genie. That one comment turned into a ridiculous debate, with rumors that NBC had strict rules about it and made her wear a flesh-colored plug to hide it. Eden always denied these claims, saying that her costume naturally covered her navel and that the story was made up. Laughing's creator, comedian George Slatter, joked about showing Eden's belly button on his show. NBC quickly shut down the idea, which only made people more interested in the subject. Some even tried to defend the decision by saying that Genie, being a magical genie, wouldn't have a belly button in the first place. The truth was much simpler. The costume designers made a choice, and the media turned it into a scandal. After I Dream of Genie, Barbara Eden didn't go away. She kept finding new ways to entertain people, showing she was more than just the Harper Valley PTA, a movie that became a TV series, was one of Eden's biggest roles after Genie. It was based on a hit country song about a widowed mother named Stella Johnson who challenges the hypocritical people in her small town. The movie did well, so in 1981, NBC decided to turn it into a series. Eden played Stella Johnson again, this time as the host of a show that mixed comedy and social commentary. At first, the show was about Stella taking on the local PTA. She exposed the hypocritical actions of the town's so-called respectable citizens, always staying one step ahead of them. The show moved on to her personal life, showing how she raised her daughter Dee and dealt with her strange uncle Winslow Homer Smith. The town was full of strange characters like the snobbish Riley family, who were always flashing with Stella Eden. She showed a different side of herself by leaving the magical world of Genie and proving she could lead a comedy with a more down-to-earth role. Harper Valley PTA ran for 2 seasons. It didn't last as long as some had hoped, but it made an impression. The show later aired in syndication, giving it a second life in 2000. TV Land brought it back, introducing a younger audience to Eden's work outside of Genie. It showed that her talent didn't fade over time. Eden's career wasn't limited to TV. She also made a name for herself on stage. In 1965, she played Maria in a national tour of The Sound of Music, which surprised some fans who didn't think she could sing, but she proved she had the voice and energy for a big musical. Years later, she starred in Love Letters, a play about a man and woman who wrote to each other every day for almost 50 years. The actors read their letters out loud during the whole show, making it feel personal and emotional. One of the best things about Love Letters was that Eden performed it with her My Dream of Genie co-star Larry Hagman. Seeing them together again brought back memories for longtime fans. Their chemistry hadn't changed, and the story of love lost and missed chances became even more powerful with them in the roles. Unlike Genie, this play was serious and emotional, showing Eden could move audiences in a different way, showing she wasn't just a comedic actress. Eden stayed a familiar face in the final season of Dallas, where she appeared in 5 episodes and shared the screen with Larry Hagman. This time their dynamic was different, as Dallas was a high-stakes drama very different from the lightheartedness of I Dream of Genie. Eden's character added a new twist to the show's last few episodes, and her scenes with Hagman carried extra weight for fans who had loved their work together years earlier. She didn't leave comedy behind, though. In 2002, she played Sabrina the Teenage Witch's Great Aunt Irma, which was a fun part. Her performance as Genie took her back to a magical world with a new twist. It was a fun show that reminded people why she had been such a beloved star for so many years. Barbara Eden's life was full of success, love, and heartbreak. She became a TV icon, but behind the scenes, she went through struggles that made her the strong woman she is today. Her greatest joys came from love and family, but her deepest pain came from them too. In 1958, she married actor Michael and Sarah. They wanted a child for years, but had a hard time getting pregnant. When their son Matthew was born in 1965, it felt like a miracle. Miracle, she called him their lucky charm baby because they had waited so long for him. Life was great for a while, but as Matthew got older, things changed. When he was 10, a neighbor in the San Fernando Valley gave him and some other kids marijuana. What began as a small experiment turned into a battle with addiction. Over the years, he tried to get clean. Rehab, therapy, and support from his parents helped a few times, but the battle never really ended. In 2001, Matthew lost his battle. He died of a heroin overdose at the age of 35. The news broke Barbara. She blamed herself. Feeling helpless, she kept wondering if there was something she could have done to save him. But instead of letting her grief destroy her, she spoke out and shared her story to help other families dealing with addiction. She wanted to make her pain into something meaningful. Decades before she lost Matthew, she had already suffered another terrible loss. In 1971, she was 8 months pregnant with her second child and ready to welcome another child into the world when she heard that the baby had died in the womb. She was shocked and sad, and at the time, few people talked about depression. She felt alone and tried to move on, but after 15 years together, they got a divorce in 1974. Barbara's career was doing well while Michael's was slowing down. Financial stress and emotional distance made things worse. Losing her child had made her depressed even more, and the divorce made them less close. After the divorce, Matthew spent more time with his father, and Barbara worried about him but couldn't be there for him because of the distance. This is when his addiction started. Looking back, she felt like she had lost control. She wanted to be there for him, but life had pulled him in different directions. In 1977, she married Charles Fager, an executive at the Chicago Sun-Times. For a while, things seemed good, but this marriage was different, and they divorced in 1983. During this time, she was focused not only on her career, but also on Matthew's worsening addiction. The weight of it all became unbearable. Then, out of the blue, she met John I.H. Holtz, a real estate developer. He was kind, patient, and most importantly, he gave her a sense of peace she had never felt before they got married. It was the first time in a long time she felt truly happy. Barbara Eden never gave up hope. She turned her pain into a purpose. She spoke about addiction to help others. She found happiness again with JN. She learned that life doesn't always go as planned, but you have to keep going, hold on to the love you have, and remember the ones you lost. Her journey was full of heartbreak, but it was also a story of strength. Barbara Eden is known for bringing magic to TV, but her impact goes far beyond the screen. She has spent years helping others using her fame to support causes she cares about, like Save the Children and the American Cancer Society. Society and the Make AWI Foundation have all benefited from her hard work. These organizations help kids by funding cancer research and granting wishes to kids with life-threatening illnesses. For Eden, this work isn't about getting attention. It's about making a real difference. She's been involved in more than just donations. She's also taken part in awareness camps, fundraising events, and charity programs. One of her most important contributions is her work with the Trail of Painted Ponies Breast Cancer Research Initiative. This group auctions off hand-painted ponies to raise money for the cause. Raising money for breast cancer research by selling horse figurines. Eden thinks that art can bring people together, and she has used her fame to bring attention to this cause. She has also helped the wellness community, a group that offers emotional and mental support. Helping people with cancer is another important cause to Eden. Another is Child Help USA, an organization that works to stop child abuse and help victims heal. Eden's dedication to these causes comes from a deep personal place. She has talked about how her own struggles have made her more understanding of other people's pain. She believes that giving back is a responsibility, and her dedication has inspired many of her fans to do the same. In 2011, she wrote a memoir called Genie Out of the Bottle, which is a rare look at the woman behind the iconic role. It tells her story from being a young actress struggling to become famous to facing heartbreak, loss, and strength. One of the hardest parts of her life was losing her son Matthew to a heroin overdose in 2001. She didn't let her grief consume her. Instead, she chose to raise her children. She has been open about the dangers of drug abuse in the hopes that her story can help others. In her personal life, she has also been through hard times. During her first marriage, she had a stillborn child, and later she had problems with her second husband, Charles Forget, who struggled with addiction. Despite these painful events, she never lost her strength. In her memoir, she also talks about working with Larry Hagman on I Dream of Genie and the challenges of playing different versions of Genie. She also talks about life in Hollywood, friendships she built, and the lessons she learned along the way. She writes with honesty, humor, and warmth, making the book feel like a conversation with an old friend. Her words include 16 pages of photographs that take readers on a visual journey through her life and career. Barbara Eden has been famous for decades, and even at 93, she shows no signs of slowing down. On November 17, 1988, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 2 years later, the University of West Los Angeles Law School gave her an honorary Doctor of Laws degree. Eden still makes public appearances and stays involved with the entertainment industry. She goes to conventions, does interviews, and supports charity events. Her energy and enthusiasm haven't faded, and fans who meet her today say she is just as charming and full of life as she was in her I Dream of Genie days. In October 2023, she went to the Hazard Fest Autograph Convention show, and a month later she was at the Rhode Island Comic Con. For Eden, these events aren't just about signing autographs. They're a way to connect with fans who have been following her work for years. She tells stories, answers questions, and reminds everyone why she is such a beloved star.